Imagine this. You're staring at a glowing screen at 2 a.m. The market just moved against you. Your heart races, palms sweaty, and suddenly a message appears. A stranger whispers, "I can help you recover everything you've lost." You don't know it yet, but that message is the beginning of a trap, carefully designed to exploit the deepest corners of your mind. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. In the dark alleys of financial markets, where millions of dollars flow every second, there are predators hiding behind friendly words, fake charts, and promises of quick success. These scammers don't just steal your money. They steal your psychology. They understand your fear, your greed, your desperation, and they weaponize it against you. Tonight, we unravel the chilling reality of how scammers use psychology to trap traders and why anyone, no matter how smart, can fall into their web. Before we dive into this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, because the more you understand the hidden psychology behind scams, the stronger your defenses become. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Every great scam doesn't begin with money. It begins with the mind. The scammer's first weapon is not technology, not fake accounts, not even their smooth words. Their first weapon is understanding human psychology. And to do that, they study you. They don't need to know your name, your address, or even your bank details. Not yet. What they want is far more powerful. They want to know how you feel right now. Are you tired after losing streak? Are you desperate to recover what you lost? Are you hungry for the thrill of a big win? These are the cracks in your armor. And scammers, like hunters in the shadows, know exactly how to look for them. Picture this. You're scrolling through a trading forum or watching a motivational clip on social media. Out of nowhere, you see a comment. "I lost everything in trading until I found this mentor." Harmless, right? Maybe even relatable. But this is profiling in action. The scammer doesn't come charging at you. Instead, they drop bait that blends into your world. They observe how you react. Do you like the comment? Do you click the link? Do you pause on their video longer than usual? Every reaction is a clue, and every clue builds a psychological profile of you. Once they've studied your reactions, scammers push emotional buttons like a pianist striking notes on a piano. And the melody they play, it's always the same three emotions. Hope. This strategy could change your life. Urgency. Act now or the chance disappears. Fear. If you don't do this, you'll lose even more. Hope pulls you forward. Urgency removes your patience. And fear paralyzes your logic. Together, these emotions form an invisible cage. The scary truth? By the time you notice, you're already inside it. Here's the genius of psychological scams. They never force you to do anything. Instead, they make you feel as if you chose it yourself. Think about it. If a stranger told you, "Send me your money," you'd block them instantly. But when a scammer whispers, "You're smart enough to see this opportunity, unlike the others," suddenly it doesn't feel like their idea. It feels like yours. This illusion of control is what makes scams so devastating. Victims don't just lose money. They lose trust in their own judgment. Here's the genius of psychological scams. They never force you to do anything. Instead, they make you feel as if you chose it yourself. Think about it. If a stranger told you, "Send me your money," you'd block them instantly. But when a scammer whispers, "You're smart enough to see this opportunity, unlike the others," suddenly it doesn't feel like their idea. It feels like yours. This illusion of control is what makes scams so devastating. Victims don't just lose money. They lose trust in their own judgment. Let's pause here for a moment. Scammers aren't inventing anything new. They're exploiting something as old as human history, the fear of missing out or FOMO. In ancient villages, missing out on food or shelter could mean death. Today, missing out on a trading opportunity feels almost the same to the brain. The scammer knows this. They know your biology will betray you. So they whisper, "Others are already in. Don't be left behind." Your brain, still wired for survival, screams, "Act now or regret forever." That's when the hook sinks deeper. Imagine this scene. A young trader named David just lost $1,500 in one bad trade. He's frustrated, ashamed, and can't sleep. As he scrolls through his phone in the dark, he stumbles on a message. I used to struggle to, but with this private group, I turned $500 into $10,000 in a month. David hesitates. His rational mind whispers, too good to be true. But his emotional mind, the one drowning in pain, replies, what if it's real? What if this is my way out? He doesn't know it yet, but his psychology has already been mapped. The scammer knows exactly what he's feeling, and every next word is designed to push him deeper. By now, David believes he's in control. He thinks he's exploring, making choices, asking questions. But the truth is, every step is scripted. The scammer's job is not to convince him. It's to let him convince himself. And that's the beauty of the psychological blueprint. It doesn't demand trust. It grows it slowly. It doesn't require proof. It manufactures illusions. And it doesn't chase the victim. It waits for the victim to walk willingly into the net. Here's the most chilling part. Victims rarely notice the exact moment they switch from cautious to committed. It's subtle. Maybe it's when they say, okay, I'll just try a small amount. But that moment is not small. It's the line in the sand. Once crossed, the scammer knows. This trader's psychology is no longer a fortress. It's an open gate. And every scam that follows, the fake profits, the fake withdrawals, the desperate final deposits, will all trace back to this moment when the blueprint succeeded. And that, my friends, is how a scam begins. Not with money, but with the careful study of your mind. David leaned back in his chair, the glow of his trading screen flickering across his face like the last light of a candle. Charts moved like waves in a storm. Red and green candles collided in a silent battle, and in the shadows of this market chaos, the scammers waited. They never come with fangs or claws. No, scammers were masks made of psychology. They study not the charts, but the human mind. Because to trap a trader, you don't need to know the market. You only need to know their fears and desires. The bait always looks harmless. It might begin with a message in your inbox. Join this exclusive trading group, 99% success rate. Or a glossy ad, guaranteed profits with our AI trading bot. But the true weapon isn't the bot or the signals. It's the language they use. Scammers understand one truth. The fastest way to hook a trader is to whisper directly to their greed. They know traders dream of shortcuts, of escaping the long grind of uncertainty. So they use words like no risk, quick profits, 100% guaranteed. For David, the moment was all too real. One night, exhausted after a losing streak, he scrolled his phone. There was a post promising a secret strategy the banks don't want you to know. The promise was intoxicating, like a whisper in the dark. You don't have to struggle anymore. We can make it easy. In psychology, this is known as cognitive ease. Our brains are wired to prefer simple answers to complex problems, and scammers craft their bait to be the simplest answer in the room. But greed isn't enough. What if greed doesn't bite? Then comes fear. Scammers thrive on urgency. Last chance to join. Spots closing fast. Don't miss out. Others are already profiting. It's the old fear of missing out, the FOMO effect. Fear and greed, the twin engines of human trading behavior, become the strings on the puppet master's fingers. David felt it too, as he scrolled the success stories under the scammer's post, screenshots of profits, fake testimonials. He felt the panic rising. What if this is real? What if I miss it and stay stuck while others are getting rich? The scammer didn't need to know David's trading record. They only needed to know he was human. And humans hate missing opportunities. But the bait isn't complete without one more element: authority. Scammers know people trust appearances of power. So they cloak themselves in borrowed credibility. A fake logo here, a stolen photo of a luxury car there, a Telegram group filled with bots acting like enthusiastic traders. All staged, all fake. Psychologists call this the authority bias, the tendency to obey or trust someone who looks like they have power or knowledge. When David first saw the scammers group, it looked professional. Charts, analyst reports, and even a staged video call with a mentor. It felt real. And that's the most dangerous part. Illusions always do. The bait works best when it matches the trader's pain. David had just lost 3 trades in a row. His confidence was crumbling. And then, like clockwork, the scammer's message came. We understand your struggles. Let us help you recover. You don't have to suffer losses anymore. The word struck deep. This wasn't random. This was psychological profiling. Scammers don't just cast wide nets. They adapt, tailoring their bait to match the trader's state of mind. If you're greedy, they promise wealth. If you're fearful, they promise safety. If you're broken, they promise hope. And in that fragile moment, David's cursor hovered over the Join Now button. The trap was almost set. What David didn't know was that none of this was accidental. The scammers had studied him. His social media posts, his trading forums, even his late-night comments on YouTube videos. Algorithms fed his vulnerabilities back to predators. They didn't just know what he wanted. They knew when he was most likely to want it. This wasn't guesswork. It was psychological warfare. Every ad was designed to bypass rational thought and go straight to instinct. Every message timed to appear when doubt was at its highest. Every testimonial scripted to trigger envy and desire. This wasn't trading. This was manipulation, dressed in market language. As David stared at the flashing button on his screen, he felt a strange pull inside. The bait had been cast. His heart raced. His palms sweated. Logic screamed to close the page, but psychology whispered, just this once. What do you have to lose? And that is how the bait works. Not by proving itself real, but by making the trader doubt themselves. Because in the end, scams don't steal your money first. They steal your judgment. And once that's gone, everything else follows. This is where the first thread of the trap is complete. David hasn't yet fallen, but the bait is in his mouth. The question isn't if he'll bite, it's when. David's finger trembled above the glowing button. Join now. The air felt heavier, his thoughts louder, his chest tight. A single click, and the game would change forever. He clicked. The screen shifted. A message popped up. Welcome, trader. You've made the smartest decision of your life. But what David didn't know was that this wasn't a welcome. It was the tightening of the net. The first move of the scammer is never to scare. It's to reassure, to make the prey believe they've chosen correctly. Immediately, David was added to a Telegram group with hundreds of active traders. Messages poured in. I just doubled my account today. Best decision I ever made. Thank you, admin, you saved me. Of course, David didn't know these weren't real people. They were bots, scripts programmed to mimic excitement. The scammers knew that social proof is one of the strongest psychological triggers. When everyone else seems to be winning, doubt dissolves. David felt it too. His skepticism faded as he read post after post of celebration. His brain whispered, somebody can't be wrong, maybe this really works. The trap never closes with a sudden crash. It tightens slowly, gently, invisibly. On the first day, David received a trial signal. The message was simple. Buy euro to US dollar now. Target 30 pips. Stop loss at 10. Heart pounding. He opened his trading app and placed a trade. Within minutes, the market moved exactly as predicted. Profit. A small one, but real. His blood rushed. His chest swelled. It worked. That's how scammers build trust. They often feed you a few real wins at the start. Sometimes it's by sending generic signals anyone could predict. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's staged. But the goal is the same, reinforce belief. David thought, finally, I found the shortcut. This is it. But one small profit doesn't satisfy for long. The scammers knew this. They came back quickly with the next message. Congratulations, David. Imagine what happens when you scale up. Bigger lot size, bigger profit. Don't waste this golden chance. This is where the psychological shift happens. Traders stop thinking in terms of learning and start thinking in terms of multiplying. The greed loop activates. David increased his position size. And again, the trade was a win. His confidence grew. His guard dropped. The trap was tightening, one invisible thread at a time. After a few wins, the next phase unfolded. A private message slid into David's inbox. David, we've noticed your potential. You're ready for the VIP group. Exclusive strategies, 90% accuracy. Just a small upgrade fee of $299. And here's the brilliance of the scam. They don't ask for everything at once. They ask for something small. Something that feels manageable. The foot-in-the-door technique. David hesitated. But then he remembered his last 3 winning trades. He remembered the celebrations in the group. He remembered the feeling of victory. And so he paid. In psychology, this is called commitment bias. Once we've invested something, time, energy, or money, we are far more likely to keep investing to justify our initial choice. David's money was no longer in his pocket. The trap had snapped shut. Inside the VIP group, things became more intense. The signals looked more complex, more professional. The scammers praised David directly. Great execution, David. You're a natural. Stick with us and you'll be a millionaire soon. This praise wasn't random. It was weaponized. Known as intermittent reinforcement, it works like a slot machine. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, but the unpredictability keeps you hooked. And every win pushed David deeper into belief. If I leave now, I'll miss out. If I stay, I'll succeed. The illusion of control had taken over. David wasn't in control anymore. The scammers were. The next phase was inevitable. Once the small money was taken, the scammers aimed higher. David, we've analyzed your trades. You're ready for the pro tier. Deposit $5,000, and we'll manage your account directly. You'll see guaranteed monthly returns. By now, David's resistance was weak. The logic that once screamed, "This is too good to be true," was silent. His brain had been rewired through a combination of trust, greed, and sunk cost bias. He transferred the money. Thousands, believing it was the beginning of his financial freedom. What he didn't know was that this was the end of his freedom. David refreshed his trading account again and again. At first, the numbers grew. Profit stacked. His balance doubled. His pulse quickened. He thought he'd struck gold. But one detail was hidden in plain sight. Those profits weren't real. They were numbers generated by the scammer's fake platform. Every dollar was gone the moment he sent it. The profits were nothing but smoke and mirrors, a mirage designed to keep him invested until the final squeeze. And as David stared at his rising balance, he smiled. He didn't know it yet, but he was smiling inside a cage. The trap was closed. Scammers don't celebrate out loud. They don't cheer or clap. They simply watch the prey walk deeper into the net, step by step, until escape is impossible. David wasn't a trader anymore. He was a puppet, dancing on strings pulled by invisible hands. Every trade, every payment, every hope controlled, and all of it built not on the market, but on psychology. The camera lingers on David's glowing screen. The balance shows thousands. His eyes gleam with hope. But behind him, in the shadows, faceless silhouettes watch silently, tightening their grip. David woke to the familiar glow of his trading screen. The balance stared back at him. $42,000. His lips curled into a smile. From a $5,000 deposit, he had almost 10 times returns. The dream was no longer a dream. It was right there, alive in numbers. But numbers can lie. And in David's case, they already had. It began innocently. David decided to withdraw a small amount, $1,000, just to test the system. He clicked withdraw. A spinning wheel appeared, loading, loading, loading. Then a message, withdrawal request under review. Please contact your account manager. Moments later, a friendly message arrived. David, congratulations on your amazing profits. Withdrawals are possible, but to unlock your account fully, you'll need to upgrade your plan. Just $2,500 more, and your withdrawals will process instantly. David froze. This wasn't what he expected. He'd seen $42,000 on the screen. Why did he need to pay more to access his own money? The first crack in the illusion appeared. But instead of running, David hesitated. His mind fought itself. Maybe this is standard procedure. Maybe I just don't understand how these VIP accounts work. This is where cognitive dissonance grips the victim. When reality collides with belief, the mind bends reality instead of abandoning belief. And scammers know it. Hours later, another message. David, the market is hot right now. If you delay, you'll lose massive opportunities. Don't waste time. Upgrade immediately. The tone had shifted. The warmth was gone. The pressure was on. David's pulse quickened. The scammers weren't just playing with his greed now. They were attacking his fear. Fear of losing out. Fear of being left behind. He felt trapped between two choices: pay more or risk losing everything. This is loss aversion, one of the strongest forces in human psychology. The pain of losing $42,000, even if it wasn't real, was unbearable. And so, like many victims before him, David considered sending more money. But something inside him snapped. He decided to resist. Instead of paying, he sent a firm message. Process my withdrawal. I'm not adding more money. Silence. The group chat that once buzzed with energy grew quiet. The fake traders stopped posting wins. The mentors stopped praising him. And then the account froze. He tried logging in. Error. Again. Error. Panic rose in his chest. Finally, the screen loaded, but the balance was gone. Zero. The numbers, the profits, the dream, wiped out in seconds. David stared, numb. His hands shook. His throat tightened. He had lost not just money, but something far more painful: trust. It wasn't just $5,000. It was weeks of believing the lies, nights of feeling victorious, days of imagining a new life. Scammers don't just steal money. They steal time, emotion, and identity. They make you believe you're a winner, until they strip everything away. David replayed the signs in his head: the too good to be true promises, the stage group chats, the sudden paywalls. He saw it all now, but too late. The psychology had worked. The cruelest part of scam isn't the loss. It's the shame. Victims rarely speak out. They feel foolish, embarrassed, weak. And scammers rely on that silence. They know most people won't report, won't warn others. They'll bury the story, hoping no one ever finds out. David felt that shame creeping in. Who could he tell? His friends would laugh. His family would scold him. The police would dismiss it as just another online scam. So he sat in silence, staring at the empty account. The scammers had not only taken his money, they had stolen his voice. David's story isn't unique. Across the world, millions fall into the same trap. From New York to London, Dubai to Singapore, scammers play the same psychological game. And they always win, because they don't fight traders in the market. They fight traders in their own minds. The battlefield isn't the chart. It's human psychology. As David sat in the dark, his phone buzzed. Another message. This time from a different account. A new name, a new mentor, a new promise. David, we can help you recover your losses. Join us and we'll restore your profits. He stared at the screen, horrified. The cycle had begun again. The predators were circling, knowing he was vulnerable, knowing he was desperate. And David realized, once you're marked as prey, the hunt never ends. The camera pulls back. David sits alone, the glow of the screen casting shadows across his face. His eyes are empty, his hands motionless. The sound of faint whispers fills the background, voices of faceless scammers, repeating the same promises to thousands of others across the world. The market doesn't move only with numbers. It moves with psychology. And where there's psychology, predators are always waiting. The scammer you just met tonight, they're not gone. They're out there, watching another trader's screen right now, waiting for fear, waiting for greed, waiting for their next victim. And maybe, just maybe, that victim could be you. Until next time, stay awake, stay alert, and beware the whispers in the dark corners of trading.